Gary, as for my suits, I just want to tell you a quick story, and Marjorie will attest to this, having spent a lot of time in China. So I went to the World Economic Forum in Dalian last year, wherever it was. You were there. And so a woman who was sitting on the panel said, your suit is shabby. You have to have another suit. I make suits. I'm having someone show up at your room. I said, oh, yeah, sure. So it's true. This is a suit from China. And I said, you can't give me this suit. I mean, and so I got a bill for $4,000 for this suit. So I called her up and I said, listen, I'm really thrilled that you've dressed me well. And this is my best suit. Just saying. But so we made a deal. I paid her $2,000, which is more than I've ever paid for a suit. But just appreciate that I've really tried for this evening. This is a true story. Yeah. All right. So, first of all, John. John is a gentleman, and John gave a speech that really is important for the profession. I'm going to go the other way and be the grenade thrower into the hooch. So, Gary, thank you for the introduction. And let me just say that I was deeply moved to learn of your decision to induct me into the Hall of Fame. You know, I'm used to Murphy or Marjorie or, Harold Burson, Dan, here I am. Anyway, it's the highest honor I've ever received, to be recognized by all of you, my peers, as having made a significant contribution. I'm deeply appreciative. 17 years ago, my dad, who was my best friend and mentor, stood here, and I'm very humbled to follow in his footsteps. He's certainly credited by many as the father of marketing PR. He certainly understood the potential of earned media for the marketing message. He definitely gave me opportunities before my time. Remember, I was manager of the New York office at 26. He made me manager because 2 other people had quit, and he said, well, why don't you just try this for a while until I find somebody decent? Anyway, that was his way with me. He celebrated our achievements in his understated way, and for that, I'm eternally grateful. Let me say that tonight, I accept this award on behalf of the entire Edelman team, who really are epitomized by my late parents, Dan and Ruth, whose founding values of integrity, entrepreneurship, decency, hard work, creativity, and citizenship inspire the 5,000 people around the world. And my parents' work, as Gary said, is carried on by my brother and sister who are here tonight, and by my daughters, Margot and Tori, who have joined the firm. And I just want to thank all the Edelman people, past and present, Peter and others, who've made it all possible, and certainly to our clients who've enabled us to surpass even my parents' wildest dreams, and they were wild. So, look, I've been now in the PR business for 36 years. I graduated from business school, which was certainly a bit of a different path than many of you in the room. Let me say that my lack of journalistic experience was never more apparent than when my first boss in the New York office, Dick Aurelio, who'd been an editor at the Providence Journal, tore my copy apart first, second, and third drafts of press releases. But I think my background also has had some advantages. For example, being able to recognize marketplace opportunities such as digital and having a network of peers around the business community. And eventually, I actually learned how to write, or at least to blog. That's a laugh line. There are a few of them in here, and that's one, so pay attention. It's late, but you're here. All right. 4 more pages to go. Hang in there. So, ladies and gents, look, this is the grenade part. I want to challenge you tonight in a quite significant way. I'm actually going to make some of you very uncomfortable, because I actually believe we have to move the communications role into a much more mission-critical one. Specifically, I think we should build from our core, of course, enhancing corporate reputation, managing employee engagement. We have to move into new areas for us, such as customer service and, yes, new product development. That's going to require a melding of marketing and communications. We're going to have to be comfortable with data-driven insight, and we're going to have to take risk with ideas. Marketing can no longer do it alone. The solution to every problem is not a new advertising campaign, because we need real action to solve today's complex problems, and that is inspired by communications thinking. And I believe, thank you. And I believe that we're ready to do this because of the values that we embrace, the principles that John so accurately talked about, drawn from the work of Arthur W. Page, and the skills that we in public relations uniquely possess. 5 quick trends that make this evolution a necessity. First, of course, I have to talk about trust, the trust barometer, so it's first. Tectonic shifts in trust. Absolutely clear is the collapse in confidence in government because of perceived incompetence and paralysis. Business trust has recovered and soared from the low point in 2008. But catch this statistic. There is still, by a 3-to-1 margin, a demand for more regulation of energy, financial services, and food. By those lovely people in government whom you hate, they still want more regulation of business because we're suspicious. There's also great evidence of dispersion of authority. A person like yourself or an employee is twice as trusted as a chief executive, as a spokesperson. What's happened is horizontal conversation is supplanting top-down. Also, the average informed people today have 8 daily sources of information, including Bill, who's on his device. And I love you, Bill. But you got to pay attention. I do this rarely. Once in my life. We play tennis. It's good. He's going to kill me next time. Also, the average person has to see a story 3 to 5 times in different places to believe it. Okay, trend number 2. We're living in a world of unprecedented complexity because of globalization, technology, and privacy issues. Important developments that many of you are pushing, cloud computing, fracking, genetic modified crops, they're paralyzed by arguments that rely on emotion and perception of risk. There is today a new standard for introduction of new products. It is no longer good enough for license to operate. That is the word that has to go away. That is a rules-based legal framework. The new ambition for business has to be license to lead, which means societal approval of innovations because we listen and adapt. That is not what marketing does necessarily. That is what we do. Third, brands are acting as representatives of their communities. Brands are no longer just built through tangible benefits. They also inspire people through causes and content sharing. Consider the Dove campaign for real beauty. That is brand forcing change. And the new role of brand as leader is best displayed in the rapid decision by 13 sponsors of the Los Angeles Clippers basketball team who immediately discontinued their relationship with the team upon learning about the disgraceful racist remarks made by former owner Don Sterling. And it made it very easy for the new commissioner, Adam Silver, to say, sell the team. And look at what's happening in the NFL today. It is being pushed by brands. PepsiCo and others are forcing change in the NFL, GE among others. Fourth, the very nature of media is transformed. The reader is no longer just reader, but content creator and advocate. Born digital brands like Huffington Post rely heavily on contribution and comments by informed readers. The New York Times is now relying a lot on high-quality, high-performing sponsored content. Media companies recognize that they have to have show and tell. That's why they have a lot of short-form video. Smart companies, GE among them, are creating their own newsrooms with vertical sub-brands for R&D policy, debate, and innovation. With more people now discovering content via social media than by search, our material has to be substantive and social. Last trend, and then I'll get to the meat of this. Technology is causing an absolute integration of corporate reputation and brand marketing. You, in your jobs, can no longer say, I do corporate reputation. You must be involved in brand marketing. Consumers do not differentiate between an engagement with a corporate call center and interaction on Twitter. Great companies actually are making change and not waiting for it. Case in point, Nestle, adopting animal welfare standards for 7,300 suppliers. Their chief procurement officer said, why? Consumers today care far more about how the components in their food are made, and since they all have smartphones, they're willing to share their knowledge everywhere. If you don't talk, you're screwed. So, Here are the 5 trends just quickly: trust, complexity, brands acting for communities, transformation of media, and technology tying together brand and reputation. So, what are we going to do about it? It's easy to talk about all the trends and all the research. I believe that we have to change the language that we use to talk about our category. We have to move from marketing communications to a new paradigm called communications marketing. Wait a minute, Richard, you've got that backwards. It's late at night and you've actually lost the plot. It's always been marketing communications. Exactly the point. Communications must be a full partner with marketing. It's no longer enough for us to just build credibility. We become the change agent. We cause the companies to change. And it's our job to reverse these 2 commonly used words, because we are operating in a new environment where classic image-driven marketing is giving way to a new focus on relationships, and a place where brands evolve into the living brand. A living brand operates with a clear mission and purpose. It invites participation from the community. It's responsive in real time, 24/7. It offers an ongoing value exchange. Living brands embrace today's complexity. They're responsible for supply chain, well-being of customers, making societal challenges possible to cure. The living brand utilizes creative storytelling that's reliant on actual consumer experience, not idealized 30-second spots. Consumers are connecting the rational, emotional, and societal aspects of a brand, and brands need to do the same. So, tonight, I want to suggest 3 governing principles of communications marketing. They are evolve, promote, protect. Note, I start with evolve. Evolve. Enable serious change within the enterprise, or introduce a product that is a discontinuous large step forward. Helping our fellow executives to lead the organization, not manage perception. Not manage perception. That is an outdated principle. We see around the corner to predict what's going to happen. We make alliances with NGOs. We listen to community feedback, and then we help to shape the strategy for the company to meet the needs of the marketplace. A perfect example of this is CVS, which boldly stopped selling cigarettes at its stores all over this country, walked away from $2 billion in sales, renamed itself CVS Health as a clear signal of the path forward. Listen to the result. They now have a 13% likelihood that U.S. adults will shop at those stores. Up 4 points from the beginning of the year, they've moved to market leader position by this action. That's measurable result. Promote. Promote is a second step after evolve, and it's grounded in storytelling, which is our heritage. It is not tied to campaigns as in advertising. It is designed to create movements. Our new job is to be alive as a living brand 24/7 with content and immersive experiences that are true to life and add value to relationships. GE recognizes that every company has to be a media company. GE Reports, Technologist Blog, Ecomagination sites. Products under the Eco brand now account for almost 25% of the total sales of the corporation. Protect. Protect is not crisis management. Bruce knows this well. We hold the organization to its promises where it matters most. Issues ranging from human rights, taxes, and product safety. Globalization and transparency are permanent game changers. Our job is no longer to suppress or divert. We are now responsible to be publicly accountable, to prevent problems, not solely to repair them. A good example, PepsiCo's Performance with Purpose initiative. It has over 40 goals for the corporation: portfolio improvement, sustainability, annual public reporting of results, and connection to financial incentives for management, inspired by communications people within the corporation. Communications marketing actually returns marketing to its roots. Steve Gracer will, of course, remember his colleague, Northwestern professor Phil Kotler, who in 1959, as early as 1959, defined marketing as creating, delivering, and communicating value to customers and managing customer relationships in ways that also benefit the organization and its shareholders. That matters because our job is to enable change. Consider what our client, Paul Pullman, CEO of Unilever, told me last month. He said, our sustainability program requires that we double our revenue while keeping resource consumption flat. Now, how do you do that? Well, he told me that they've achieved 1/3 of that goal because they've fixed their supply chain, bottles and, sourcing and all that. Here's the next 2/3. Here's the hard part. The next 2/3 is to change consumer behavior so that they take shorter showers, use cold water wash, etc. That's change that we have to help happen. And it's only going to happen with superb creative work. It is a false choice to say that programs from communicators need to be substantive instead of brilliant. I went to the Cannes Lions in France this summer. It was the first time I'd ever been. What's clear is the lines are totally blurred. Brilliant ideas come from everywhere. Ad agencies, media buyers, digital firms, PR firms, corporate departments. A great story will win if it's brought to life through powerful creative. It has to be part of an immersive and live virtual experience, and it must leverage all of earned, owned, and paid. We must be able to do paid. We cannot say, oh, that's the other guy's job. Our job too, accelerating good content. And we have to be brave enough in every one of your departments to make organizational and cultural changes, to welcome in new kinds of talent. Not just former journalists, but planners, digital and social media experts, creatives, media superstars, developers, and yes, quantitative analysts who can help us do this work. They will create stories that can work in this socialized, democratized world, that give people a reason to engage with brand. And they'll also design apps that make it easy to participate in a brand's future. 2 more pages. 1 more page, actually, 1.5. The value of communications marketing is already being recognized by senior executives. Consider these words in the Harvard Business Review. Keith Weed, CMO from Unilever, quote, "In a joined-up social digital world, I don't think you can separate communications from marketing anymore. If you do, you're talking out of 2 sides of your mouth as a company." Or Rick Going, CEO of Tupperware, quote, "Get marketing behind communications. We've abdicated what marketing can be. The soul of the corporation is authenticity, purpose, and localization." And smart companies are absorbing this lesson because they're giving communicators and marketers a broader set of responsibilities. Andy Farrow of Wrigley, for example, is now CCO and Chief Strategy Officer. John Iwata, who will be here tomorrow, I was hoping tonight I'd give him a little heads up. CCO, now CMO, he's also director of the strategy group at IBM. It's the thinking of a communicator who will come up with an idea, as John did, of pairing IBM China's research lab with the Beijing municipal government to forecast air quality in real time so that factories can be closed for bad air days. These executives, many others in the room, Dave, Sampson, others, they recognize that our role is to evolve, promote, and protect the company, always doing what's right for the enterprise, not necessarily for the next day's sale. To make communications marketing a reality, here's what we need to do. We have to embrace new skills and capabilities predicated on systems thinking, a global view, and relentless innovation. We have to advocate for substantive change in brand or corporate strategy. We have to enable business to be seen as a force for good, a values-based approach that is in our souls. We have to partner with civil society, force the company to take that risk, because actually it's a less risk opportunity, because they can deliver services on the ground in a credible fashion while we offer capital and expertise. We have to offer outstanding creative that catalyzes communities through storytelling. We have to participate in the revolution in media by doing earned, owned, and paid, including native advertising. And we have to finally prove that our ideas and programs drive substantive impact by connecting results to key business metrics such as consideration, demand generation, loyalty, image, and yes, reputation. Communications has to operate with the rigor and analytics of marketing. And marketing must now operate with the storytelling genius and marketplace reality of communications. They are inextricably linked. Thus, communications marketing, a powerful way to reimagine the opportunity. This is public relations creating outcomes that change the course of the corporation while also improving society. It's the consummation of the dream of my dad, and it's also entirely consistent with the Page principles, because in the end, we are advocates for truth and prove it through our behavior and actions. No other discipline holds these values as closely. For you, as communications executives, and for all of us in the PR agency world, it is our time to lead. Thank you very much.